Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another Market Open stream. Today, there's a lot to talk about. A lot has happened since last night. And a rare buy signal just flashed for Bitcoin. Yeah, that's right. So, let's talk about everything that's going on in the world of Bitcoin and crypto today. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out the day hot once again. 87.9. After yesterday's recovery, we got up to like 88.7. And then at night, we retraced back down a little bit. That was to be expected. We were a little bit hot, too hot. So we came back down a little bit, and now we're coming right back up, so that's pretty good. And a lot of the alts held their gains yesterday, and they're coming back up as well. So things are looking better now, way better than even a few days ago. Look at that, just slow and steady recovery. That's what we want. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And today, let's see, the U.S. market is opening up in the green, and yesterday was really green. Today, a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. A little bit green is still better than no green at all, but things could still turn around. Obviously, what turned this week around was due to this. Trump basically saying that there will be some breaks on the tariffs. April 2nd is labeled Liberation Day. And to quote him, I may give a lot of countries breaks, but it's reciprocal. But we may be even nicer than that. We've been very nice to a lot of countries for a long time, but I call Liberation Day. April 2nd is Liberation Day. So basically, this made Wall Street a little bit more comfortable, thinking that, it's not going to be a blanket tariff on everything. There will be certain industries, certain goods, certain countries that will get exemptions and so forth. So that's what kind of prompted everything. But nevertheless, there will still be tariffs. So that's coming next Friday. And there's like little details coming out here, there, so. But anyways, that's what kind of prompted everything to recover, which is good. I saw this today. China invites U.S. business leaders to Beijing as it tries to decipher Trump's trade plans. And so far, I've been hearing a lot. Yesterday, I covered how Hyundai was building a plant in the U.S., and a lot of other companies are now planning on building their plants in the U.S., so China's probably feeling a little worried about that. So that's probably the reason why they want to do this, because if all this manufacturing is moving away back to the U.S., this is going to hurt them a lot. So that's probably the reason why. All right, moving on. What else is there? Let's see. The rest of this week, we do have a few more big economic data to look forward to, including a GDP number and a PCE inflation reading. Those are coming on Thursday and Friday. Those can move markets in a big way. That's this week. But next week is definitely the big tariff, the Liberation Day. That will definitely move markets. If he comes in more dovish than people expect, then it could definitely move things in a very big way upwards. Because most of you guys know markets are oversold. Everything is still oversold. Even with the recent recovery, things are still very oversold, especially in crypto, where most alts are down still 50% from just January levels. Okay, but things are recovering. Things are recovering. Bitcoin, as I covered, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now 7 days of inflow. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good recovery. This is part of that recovery process. These inflows are not, they're not small, but they're not as massive as the outflows that we saw prior. But it's a start. It shows the appetite is coming back. People are realizing that we're too oversold. This is a golden opportunity to pick up cheap Bitcoin, or cheap Bitcoin ETF in this case, right? And that's the right move. That's the right move. You got to buy low and you sell high. You know, right now, we're given a golden opportunity with all the macro scariness that may still last for a couple more months. But this is a golden opportunity to pick up your favorite crypto, including Bitcoin, or even your favorite stocks, or whatever is your favorite, at a massive discount versus where they were just back in January. Right? Bitcoin is still, what, 30%? 30% off from January levels. Most alts, including the big caps, are still like 50%. Anywhere from 30 to 50% off. And some of the Bitcoin-related stocks, like Coinbase and MicroStrategy and others, they're still like 30 to 40% off. We're given this golden opportunity to pick up more, and the ETFs show that there are a lot of people taking advantage. The ones that panic sold, some are starting to come back. Right? And you guys know BlackRock. BlackRock, whenever they get into something, you know they're in it for a long haul. And it's not that it's like really good for BlackRock to get into something, because usually they want like world domination. But in this case, short term, it's going to be good. BlackRock holds over 500,000 Bitcoin in their American ETF, but they're expanding to Europe now. They're going all over. So they're going to offer their ETP in Germany, and they're going to go into Amsterdam and France soon. They're just expanding everywhere in Europe. They want the whole pie, not just a little piece. They want everything. And Larry Fink, he's been like the biggest cheerleader for Bitcoin for quite some time, over the last few years. So you don't want the likes of BlackRock to take everything. I mean, they're doing it with others. I mean, they're even buying up real estate. They're buying up real estate. They're buying up farmland. They're buying up everything behind the scenes. They're buying up Bitcoin too. So don't let that happen. There's only so much out there. All right, what else is there? In addition, obviously we got a lot of great other stuff going on. A lot of states are still moving forward with their reserve. Kentucky is moving forward. You have Arizona ready to move forward. You have Ohio ready to move forward. Many, many, many states ready to move forward with their own Bitcoin reserve. All positive, very positive. And Oklahoma as well. I mean, just one after another, after another, after another. These are all great things. You could argue these are signs or signals, okay? Part of the growing fundamentals of Bitcoin. When did we ever have, in Bitcoin's history, states trying to approve reserve bills? Never. This is the only cycle. When do we have a national federal reserve for Bitcoin? Never. This is the first time in history. I mean, these are big deals. When do we ever have a crypto czar in the White House? Never. We only had that position for 2 months. These are all new things happening. When did we ever get the SEC dismiss cases against crypto projects? Never until the last few months. These things never happened before in the history of Bitcoin and crypto, and they all happened within the last few months. Things are moving in a very positive direction in a very quick time frame. So don't just always focus on the price action. The price action will catch up. It always does. It always does. Now, this one is related to price action, and that is this buy signal. So, of course, over the years, there are periods that show that Bitcoin is very oversold or very overbought. Hash ribbons relate to the miners and whether or not it's profitable for them to mine Bitcoin. And usually when it gets to a point where it becomes a capitulation point where things are turning around, it becomes profitable again, and there's no point of them selling, and they are just mining, accumulating, and even buying, that's when this flashes by. And you don't see that happen very often. You only see this happen when you have major corrections, like a 30%, 40% correction that come out of nowhere in a very short time frame. Normally you see it in a major crash, like during crypto winter. You normally don't see it during, normal times. So the last time this flashed was back in June, July timeframe of last year. So it's almost been a full year. And the prior time it flashed was the prior June, July in 2023. So again, you don't see this happen very often, but look at what happened afterwards when it did flash. In 2023, after it flashed, a few months later, that's when Bitcoin started shooting up from 20,000 all the way up to 70,000. And in July, last time it flashed, guess what? A few months later, that's when we went to 109,000. So it just flashed now. So, like I've been saying, we may have to wait a couple more months till that quantitative easing starts. But that's probably, and it correlates to what happened before, that's when we probably start skyrocketing once again and we make that new high. It all correlates. It all makes sense. This is why you stay in the game. You don't leave. You don't panic sell. It never really leads to good things. Holding and DCAing, that's the right strategy. All right. Outside of Bitcoin, what else is there? BlackRock is just everywhere. I saw this is breaking news. BlackRock is going to expand its money market fund to Solana. And this is in partnership with a company called Scrutinize. No, is it Scrutinize? Scrutinize. Securitize. Securitize. Yeah, BlackRock's just all over the place. But again, this shows you how useful Solana is and how widely adopted it is. They will be getting their ETF soon. Okay. And Solana's not going to go away anywhere. It's not going to go away anytime soon, and it will recover in a big way. So this is pretty big. What else is there? I covered this last night. Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, President Trump, and Trump Media is going to be launching their own ETFs. They removed, okay, they removed which ETFs. I think they weren't supposed to leak it, and I did. The most interesting one is the bucket one, which includes CRO in there, which is why it's up 20-something%. As CRO, as an XRP, it has Solana, and also has ETH and Bitcoin. So it's a combo ETF that they're trying to launch. So they have removed that from their Twitter. I don't know how far along it is, whether they're trying to get approval already, or maybe they gotten the okay behind the scenes. That's why they kind of leaked it already. But if that is a go, that sets the precedence that there will be a lot more bundle ETFs coming later this year. And we're probably going to have a meme one where you could have a meme ETF that has like Doge and Bonk and Pepe included. And then you're going to have maybe a RWA one. And then you could have just a multiple chain one. You could have an exchange ETF one. I mean, just like regular ETFs with stocks and commodities, you're going to have ETFs of crypto all over the place. That's going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting. And I think very good for any of the projects that do get their ETFs. And you may be wondering why it hasn't helped ETH. ETH an exception for many reasons. One is Grayscale continues to sell ETH from their trust. And two, ETH is basically having its lunch eaten by all the other chains out there, including Solana. That's the reason why. All right. I saw this. Circle's USDC becomes the first stablecoin approved for use in Japan. That's pretty big. So Circle is still moving forward. And then this. There is one person from this one company that wants to get $500 billion in restitution after this SEC fallout. Good luck with that. So basically he argues, just Jimmy Valley argues that XRP holders lost out at least $500 billion because of the SEC lawsuits that has been ongoing for many, 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 many years. Right? I mean, in theory, that is true. SEC, anytime they sued anyone, has brought down a lot of value. It has destroyed companies. But yeah, I just don't see. I don't see how this is going to get ruled in favor of Jimmy. I don't know. If it does, great, but I just don't see it. All right. Bitcoin is down slightly, 87.1, still pretty good. Let's see. The U.S. market turned slightly red, about even. Overall, kind of even versus yesterday. All right, let's do some Q&A. Yeah, people are saying my mic is lower than usual. I don't know. I don't know what happened with my mic. It's the same mic. I don't know. The Windows, my computer reset, and I don't know what happened. I've been trying to speak louder too, so I don't know what's going on with my mic. And then now people say my mic is fine. I don't know. Maybe it's just a little bit quieter than usual. AVAX has been making a good recovery up to 22. It got as low as 15 a few weeks ago. Man, I was dirt cheap. AVAX is still recovering pretty good. Let's see. H bar is 2. A little bit. ADA. Solana. JG, when do you think M2 will catch up with Bitcoin? April 30th. Any thoughts? That doesn't... M2 as... Okay. Well, M2 money supply has nothing to do with Bitcoin directly. Bitcoin moves with the M2 money supply, not the other way around. Right? So usually when the money supply goes up, Bitcoin goes up, because when the money starts swirling around, that's when basically all investments go up. Let's see, what is the 10... 10-year yield? I mean, the only problem with what we're going through is this stock recovery is not helping bring rates down. Part of the plan, I believe, is to bring rates down. And that's by bringing down the stock market. But the stock market is kind of recovering. And with the stock market recovering, you can see the 10-year is not going down. And Fed Chair Powell is in no rush to cut the Fed fund rate either. So, again, we may have to wait until June, which, again, isn't that long. We're about to enter April. So if we have to wait 2 full months to hit June before we get a rate cut, that's okay. But I think a lot of the tariff stuff was done to kind of crash markets. And now there's a little backtracking on that. So this hasn't gone down much at all. Yeah, we're back up. Back up in the green. Jameson, when did you go beyond with Robert Kiyosaki? You know, it was a big surprise to see him mention me yesterday in a tweet. I was thinking about reaching out to him. That'd be cool to go on his podcast. I don't know where he's based out of. I have no idea. Persian Immortal. Robert's not the best person. I mean, he's right, but condescending to those who don't think like. Yeah, I've seen him being very condescending to certain people. Um, During interviews, he likes to talk about what he likes to talk about. If you try to ask him any other question, he gets very irritated. But still, he is a Bitcoin believer now, a big Bitcoin believer, and that's great. Normally, you don't see gold guys turn and believe in Bitcoin because they just don't. Um, and he's one of those few that sees the potential of Bitcoin. Someone mentioned Render. Render actually has been coming up the last few days. Render is a solid RWA, AI, and DPIN play. They're like in all three. I don't know if they're based in the US. They are on Coinbase and Binance, two of the big exchanges. I think their parent company is working with Apple. I think they may be American based. Wow, JJ Abrams is part advisor. I never knew that. I don't know where this company's from. If they're American based, then it's like they're perfect. They probably are. Isaac, when will RWA shine? Algo has some good ones like TravelX and Lofty. I think it depends on. I think it depends on a project. Like Render is partially an RWA. Um, it depends on I guess what what is being tokenized. Chris, I don't have any jokes right now. It's not US based. It was founded by OTOY, cloud rendering company headquarters in Los Angeles. Yeah, then it is. A lot of companies prior, they hide where they're actually based because they didn't want to be attacked by the SEC. That's why a lot of companies really they created their entities offshore or the Caymans or like overseas, but the founders are American and they live in the US or something like that. But now I think that's all going to change. What's your favorite class in Diablo? The Necro. The Necromancer has always been my favorite. I love to just do a lot of corpse explosion. Well, I haven't played Diablo 4 forever, but Diablo 2, that's all I did. Just a ton of corpse explosion. Um, all the data we just got was very bearish. What data? A lot of the data that we're getting, as long as we're coming in line with expectations, it's okay. In fact, for example, the GDP number that we're going to get on Thursday, if that actually comes in lower than expectations, it would actually be good for markets. It shows the economy is slowing more than expected, and that would actually be positive because it gives Powell a reason to cut the rate faster. Because right now, it's like an 18% chance to cut in May, which basically is not going to happen. It's not going to happen until June. So unless drastic things happen in between now and May, we're not going to get a cut until June. And then PCE on Friday, so that's, measuring inflation. The worst case scenario for Friday is if inflation goes up higher than expected. According to this, we're supposed to see 2.5%. And then core inflation, 2.7%. Core inflation is expected to go up by 0.1%. to 2.7. Overall, we're at 2.5. That's the headline. If either one of these goes up higher than expected, that would be bad because, again, that goes against cutting the Fed fund rate. So best case scenario for Thursday and Friday is GDP comes in lower than expected. Inflation also comes in lower than expected. If both of those come in lower than expected, it'd be really good. KCF, no bull till October. We will continue to chop. I don't know if I agree with that. This is what I was talking about. When we get quantitative easing, when we get rate cuts, that's when the money starts flowing. That's when crypto generally starts moving. Last time we had this happen was back in September, right here. That's when the Fed started their quantitative easing. We had 50 basis point cut. That's when we started going upwards. Although you're right, we didn't skyrocket from that point, but that was the turning point, and we started going up. And this was, of course, after election, right? So we're starting to trend up at some point. I think, we're probably going to do this. And then sometimes, see, this is leading right up to June. I think somewhere around here where it'll finally break out. Like right around here. And that's probably, when we get that rate cut in June. That makes sense. We might just see that choppiness leading up to June and then go. I don't think we have to wait all the way until October. Yeah, today we keep getting red, green, red, green. It's kind of like we don't have a solid direction yet. Yesterday was really green. So if we have another green day today, that would be very fantastic. All right, guys. So overall, things are still looking pretty good on our road to recovery. So that's what we want. Still a lot of great things happening. Fundamentals are still great. We got a buy signal that flashed. And many, many, many states still looking to adopt Bitcoin. So stay strong, my friends. Have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you guys later. Tomorrow morning. Or maybe tonight. 8:30 p.m. or 8:30 a.m. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one. Take care.